Hello, welcome back. My name is Veronica and all of that stuff. I'm recording this in the middle of my lunch break, so we're doing it as a little faster than normal. So, yesterday I saw this video.
The real reason why movie trailers spoil the entire plot of the film is very intentional and way more fascinating than you think. I feel like every couple of years this complaint resurfaces where people say that movie trailers are suddenly spoiling the entire film and that there's no reason to go see it after you've watched it, as if it's this new phenomenon that's constantly happening. It's actually a specific legal reason. See, movie trailers are legally considered marketing, so they're subject to all the same laws that other types of marketing are, including false advertising. And the movie itself is considered the product that is being marketed. But unlike a stain removal product where the results are very literal and concrete, the promises that a movie trailer make are a little bit more vague and in a gray area, and also subject to artistic license. Studios open themselves up to a lot of legal liability if anybody feels like the trailer for a film misrepresents it in a misleading way that causes them to spend money on something that they didn't want to see. And throughout history, many people have attempted to sue studios for this exact thing. And because of these threats of lawsuits, movie studios largely are very scared about any kind of legal liability for misrepresenting their films, and so they go out of their way to make sure that the trailers just explain the whole plot of the film in a very clear way so that they don't get sued. And every year as more and more lawsuits roll in, they just get more and more overt about over-explaining the plot of the film in the trailer. So there you have it. Once again, annoying Karens have ruined something for everybody.
Now, it's a little long to go through, but I was like so fascinated by it because it's something that I've been thinking about for years. I've stopped watching trailers, especially if it's a film or TV series that I want to watch, because I know they're gonna spoil it, and it's so annoying. It's just something that hits very close to home because I'm like, okay, I'm a storyteller. Why are we giving away the story, the plot, the intrigue, the climax, the twists, all of that stuff, right? I just want to enjoy it, okay? Let me enjoy it. Be surprised. But no. Instead, we get all of these super dumbed down, surface level type of narratives that are so... it's not worth watching. Okay? My fucking nightmares or whatever weird little scribble my brain comes up when I get too bored to complete a task at work has more depth and layer than anything that comes out of that fucking thing. Anyway. But it ties into this whole second screen or dual screen viewing thing that we also have a rise of. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's because of TikTok. No. This was already happening before TikTok. But I think it was exacerbated by the rise of short form content. And it's just people attention span is just not there. Like, if I'm watching something on Netflix and then I pick up my phone instead of paying attention to it, but I just want something in the background, if I actively choose that, that's fine. But then I'm not gonna go out there and review the movie as like, oh, it didn't make sense. No, because I fucking wasn't watching it. But people are doing this. So the directive that Netflix and I believe Prime has also Amazon has gone out with is dumb down the stories, make them surface level so that if you're sitting there scrolling on your phone and you look up once every 3 minutes, you can still keep up. And I'm just like, hey, if you want second monitor content, that's fine. That's what a lot of YouTube content is. That's fine. Probably this fucking video is on your second screen too. And that's fine. But when you're talking about actual stories being told, actual like short films, actual movies, TV series, where the point is I'm telling you a story, a fictional story that is supposed to intrigue you, and you're supposed to not really know where things are going. It's gonna keep you on your toes. And then you go like, oh my God, I don't want to watch this. Then don't fucking watch it. It's the same thing as people reading books that they don't like and they know they're not gonna like it. And hear me out. I sometimes read books that I know I'm not gonna like because there's a slight enjoyment, if you will, in the act of reading something. I believe people call it hate reading. That's one thing. But I know that I'm reading something that I genuinely or generally don't like, but then I'm also not gonna go and talk, like, give it a bad review, like, oh, I hated it. Yeah, it kind of fulfilled that thing for you. But if it is a story that I really genuinely thought I would love and then it turned out to be trash, yeah, then it's valid. But if I pick up a trashy ass book, whatever it may be, and I know that it's gonna be a trashy book, and it turns out to be a trashy book, it did what it promised. Okay? It's about delivering expectation or hitting expectation and delivering on your promises. And I find it so frustrating because I want to like these stories. I really do. And they have so much promise. The concepts are there. Everything is there. And then the execution is like, oh, remember that this is for people who are not really paying attention anyway. So like, just remove the layers. And I see this so much in writing as well. And it's so frustrating. Okay, so just a few years ago, I got into the romance genre. I love it. But there's so much garbage. So much. And I don't want anyone to come in here like, just let people like what they like. I didn't even mention a specific shit, okay? Maybe it's not about your fav, okay? Whew. And it's also like, oh my God, you just think it's misogyny. No, it's just poor writing, okay? And it's like, oh, it's just because it's indies. I'll tell you, no, it ain't. No, it fucking ain't. Let me tell you, I do like reading romance to the point where I wrote one and I wrote a serial that is ongoing. And I'm also writing another romance book because I like it. I like it so much. But a lot of the stories that are out there are so simplistic, like at best, simplistic, like surface level, but there's so much out there in the actual content that just is romanticizing abuse. Like, what the fuck? And not even in the dark romance, like even dark romance, that's kind of, you know, where you expect it to be. That is part of the subgenre itself. It's kind of like if you read dark romance and are surprised about the romanticization of abuse, it's kind of like going outside in the winter and being surprised you should probably have worn a winter jacket. That's on you. Like, that one's on you. I accidentally read a dark romance book. I did not know that it was a dark romance book, and I just like, what the fuck is going on? And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, that checks out. That one's on me. That one's on me. So please label your stuff more clearly. Okay, I was a little traumatized, I'm not gonna lie. Like, anyway, moving on. And on top of that, you then also have this fucking hand-holding thing, which I do also think is part of this dual screen shit going on, where people cannot infer anything anymore. Subtext is dead! Ah! Subtext is completely dead. It is, oh, here's exactly what this is supposed to mean. Please don't infer anything. Don't think by it for yourself or anything, you know? It's here's what it actually means. Now, I have a whole video script. I'm scripting it. I'm working on it about this particular phenomena. But basically, I think it ties into this dual screen viewing and the dumb down of the content to be catering to that at the cost of fucking use your brain. So it just ties into that with this new writing style, like at least a decade old writing style, where people are so scared of readers misinterpreting something that they have written and then getting outraged about it and then they getting canceled. And I think that is on the readers 100%. That you have conditioned people, authors, to be scared to the level where they just remove any intricacies, depth, layers, anything. Because if from the first page your character isn't fucking perfect, at best you're saying, I'm not gonna give this a chance, even though maybe that character, the whole point of the fucking story is to develop, to grow, character growth. And the worst one is like, oh my god, this one said XYZ or did XYZ. This is a terrible character. This is a misrepresentation of blah, 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 blah. A lot of stories that I've read growing up, that was the fucking point, to showcase that this behavior that the character exhibits in the beginning of the story is wrong. They grow through it, they develop, and then they change and realize that what they did, what they thought, what they said was wrong. But those stories can't be told anymore, because if that character says something shit, then the author gets canceled. Even if the story is about going through this and changing and showcasing how absolutely wrong it is to do that. But those stories, that complexity does not work today, because readers and viewers are not paying attention enough to give it the chance that it needs in order to activate your brain so that you can learn from it. No, instead, it needs to be dumbed down so that when you're sitting there not paying attention, your feelings don't get hurt. You can still keep up. You don't feel talked down to because, oh, this one is too complicated. It wouldn't be complicated if you were paying attention. As I said, I have a whole other video on a little bit of what's going on here, but strong feelings. Anyway, I found it very, very interesting to see the more marketing side impacting this with the trailers, because it has been such a big conversation amongst my friends and I about like, what the hell happened? Now I don't need to go and watch the movie. And I very, very clearly remember this, what was it called? This movie that in the trailer, there was a particular scene that made me laugh so much that was the reason I wanted to watch it, or I ended up watching it. And that scene was not part of, like, it wasn't in the movie. And I found that was very, very disappointing. I see the point that he is trying to make in this, or not trying, he is making in this video talking about false marketing. Because in my opinion, that was false marketing. Because you included this scene in your marketing, but it was not part of the product, which then becomes technically false marketing. You can definitely argue for that. I was disappointed because I really wanted to see the context of that scene in the story. And so I think it's very important for people to be mindful of this. But getting angry about, this movie, I didn't understand, I don't know what I'm getting into. I'm like, then movies and shit is not for you. If you cannot watch something without knowing exactly where it's going, maybe you should just go back to the stuff you already know and work through that so that you want to watch something else. And don't worry, I don't judge that. I rewatch shit all the time because I realize that a lot of the times I'm not really in the mind space to sit down and take in a new story. That's okay. But I'm not going to go and shit on this industry to the point where they have to start doing this so that when I get into a movie, I already know where it's going so that my anxiety is all soothed and stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. Thank you very much for being here for my very impromptu little energetic rant about it. I'm not entirely sure if I made sense, but I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. If you have any thoughts, opinions, or whatever, let them drop them down below, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah! Love you, bye!